Welcome back. You're still watching SABC News Prime Time. Now, Britain will have a new Prime Minister on Wednesday night. She's Theresa May, Britain's Interior Minister for 6 years.
This follows the abrupt withdrawal of Energy Minister Andrea Leadsom, the only other contestant for the position. May takes over from David Cameron as Prime Minister, who announced his resignation after Britain voted to leave the European Union. May herself favoured a vote to remain in last month's membership referendum. She will be Britain's second female Prime Minister after Margaret Thatcher.
May and Leadsom had been due to contest a ballot of around 150,000 Conservative Party members. The result was to have been declared by the 9th of September, but Leadsom unexpectedly withdrew today, opening the way for the 59-year-old May to take over much sooner. Leadsom told reporters that she was pulling out of the race because a 9-week leadership campaign was highly undesirable at such a critical time.
The new Prime Minister will be tasked with the complex process of extricating Britain from the EU.
Well, we now cross live to our correspondent in London, Dan Whitehead, for the latest. Dan, going into the weekend, everybody thought there was still quite some time in terms of this race. Take us through the events that led up to today's dramatic announcement by Prime Minister Cameron.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we all woke up this morning and went into work believing that we had two leadership contenders battling it out for the next 3-4 weeks or so at least. And we're ending the day now knowing that Theresa May will be the Prime Minister on Wednesday. So how this all unfolded? Well, Theresa May was in Birmingham in England this morning, starting to campaign to the Conservative Party membership, convincing those 125 members to vote for her to get her elected as the new leader of the Conservative Party and in turn the next Prime Minister. Around 15 minutes after that, we suddenly had a statement at around midday from Andrea Leadsom, and the rumour mill was in overdrive because over the weekend there was a big row from Andrea Leadsom, though she'd given an interview to the Times newspaper where it was portrayed that she had said that as a mother she had more of a stake in the UK's future than Theresa May, who does not have children. She denied that is what she said. She was misquoted, but of course caused quite a furore. 15 minutes after Theresa May began campaigning, Andrea Leadsom took to the steps to pull out of the leadership race. She said that she did not have sufficient support to lead a strong and stable government. Well, that of course then created a one-horse race. Simply Theresa May left, and we were all scrabbling around to figure out, well, what does that mean? Do we have to get the person who was knocked out in the last ballot back up, and we continue with this leadership battle? The so-called 1922 committee, and I won't get too complicated here, but a committee within the party which organises the leadership election came out and said no, that simply means that because Theresa May is the only contender, she will become the leader of the Conservative Party. And David Cameron came out on 10 Downing Street and outlined exactly how it's going to work, and it's far sooner than we had expected. He will hold his final cabinet tomorrow, Tuesday. He will then hold his final Prime Minister questions in the House of Commons on Wednesday before he gets in his car, goes to Buckingham Palace to tender his resignation to the Queen on Wednesday afternoon. Wednesday night, Theresa May will walk to Downing Street and she'll be the next Prime Minister.
Well, he had some engagements, including G20 going into August, so all of that now falls away. And I suppose Theresa May has to hit the ground running.
Absolutely. I mean, that was always going to be the case. I think this is far sooner than anyone, of course, had expected. Andrea Leadsom had faced calls to quit the race as soon as really the two names were on the ballot, but she said no, and Theresa May had said that she would rather have a proper competition between the two of them and let the members decide, but that's simply how it has unfolded. But you're right, Theresa May will be hitting the ground running. In the last couple of minutes or so, she has given a statement outside Westminster, a sort of victory statement far sooner than she thought she might have to if she was successful. She has called for a very strong and positive vision for the future for everyone involved, but reiterated her position that Brexit is Brexit. And this, of course, is the interesting part of this leadership battle, is that Theresa May was a Remain campaigner. She did not want Brexit. She wanted the UK to stay part of the European Union. She now is tasked with getting the UK outside of the European Union. So there are some Conservative MPs who are unhappy about this because they haven't got a Leave campaigner in the hot seat dealing with these negotiations. But she was, out of the two, the more experienced politician, and she will be the one from Wednesday night who has to set the timescale of how these negotiations will begin.
this will suit the European Union then, because it looks like then that this Article 50 is going to have to kick in much sooner.
Well, Theresa May has always said that she will not press the Article 50 button, which is the process to create a 2-year timeline for the UK to exit the EU. She will not press that button this year. So you've got a new Prime Minister to be, who in 2 days, unless she changes her mind, will not be pressing that button yet. She wants to get the negotiation stance implemented and find out exactly what what her new cabinet position is going to be, exactly what a Brexit is going to look like. That'll raise concerns among many of the Eurosceptic politicians in the UK. Will a Remain leader water down what had been fought for in this EU referendum a couple of weeks ago? That'll be a concern. But I don't think, who knows though, because we're not surprised by British politics day by day at the minute, but I don't think we'll see Theresa May rush to implement Article 50. She'll be looking for stability. She said there'll be a budget in the autumn as usual. There'll be no snap general election. Whether or not those policies and those stances of hers will change in the coming days, we'll have to see from Wednesday night.
Dan Whitehead, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed. That was Dan telling us about this dramatic day where England, the UK, Britain has declared, and it will have its second female Prime Minister by Wednesday evening.